2023, and we are still the slightly average guys. Though we're missing one part of our average guy, we are still going to do a show this week and probably bring you more energy than if Andy was actually here anyway. Mostly because Andy sits back in his chair and then just tries to drop bombs every once in a while towards the end of the show. But we are back. We're glad that everybody is viewing, watching, listening. However you're listening to it, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, share it with your grandma. Take a post-it note, put it by the copy fax machine that's still in your office that almost nobody uses because who the hell goes in the office? Doesn't matter. But we're here. We're gonna bring some banging topics for us, and let's just jump right into it. Ryan, how you doing this year? It's I haven't even seen you stream wise since last year. How you been?
Yeah, I mean, I've been good. A lot has changed in my life. If we're jumping right into this thing, couple comments real quick though. Do you think Andy's gonna watch this episode, or do you think he is watching to listen to what you said?
I don't think he's watching it live, but I think he will listen to it at one point, at least the first 3 minutes of it, and be like, "What the hell, guys? That's some bullshit."
Yeah, that is. It was a great comment though, and it was
Yeah.
really funny.
But I feel like. Wait, you said stuff's changed in your life? Like
Stuff has changed in my
okay.
life.
Okay.
And let's just dive right into it. 2022 has been a crazy year for me. A lot has changed. If you're listening to the podcast or have listened to it, you know that we bought a house. You know that Corey's got her master's. You know that we got excuse me, that was actually the previous year. And at the end of this year, December 22nd of 2022, Corey became a teeter, and I now carry a paperweight on my finger. I got married, so that's some really cool news, really awesome news. It was an awesome time. We got married in the Dominican Republic at Punta Cana. Did an all inclusive there.
Now let me ask you a question before we go into the where things that happened during the time that we were all out of the country.
Don't ask me too much.
Yeah, but let me just ask you one simple question, right? The ring. Can you keep playing with it nonstop, or is it just on your finger and it just makes your finger feel heavy?
Dude, I knew that was gonna be a question before this show. And for the very first time today, I thought of you. And I was like, dude, I can spin my ring on a table now. I see you do that on the glass table like all the time when we're playing cards. And I just did it for the first time. Now mine has a little bit of like a rough edge on it. Probably not gonna be able to see that. A little bit of a rough edge on it, and it doesn't glide as best as yours does. But yes, I'm playing with it all the time. I'm just like twisting it in here, taking it on, putting it back on, taking it on, putting it back on. I'm like, and it used to be annoying, and that's why I used to do it, because it used to itch all the time, and I'd be like, but now I'm like used to it. But now I just play with it constantly, and it's my new fidget toy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to explain. It's like it's something that's like me. What is this? 7 years? This will be 8 years. 4, 6, 7, 8.
Math.
Yeah, math. It's 2014. I don't know. It's 2014 until now. Outside of like the last year and a half of not going into the office, well, 2 years now of going into the office, like I hardly ever wear it. Yeah, so it's just something that like since I used like now I switched to for my one that there's the metal one. I actually switched to the my cat is underneath me right now. I was like, what the hell is pushing against me? I switched to one of the silicone ones or silicone ones.
Yeah.
Mostly because working on the car or yard work or something like that, it's much nicer. And like oddly enough, mine, even though I've gained weight since we got married, it doesn't fit as well. And I don't mean like it's tighter. Somehow it's looser. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, somehow it's looser. My fingers aren't as sausagey apparently as before. just my middle area, but not so much my fingers. So I'll be doing things and it'll like go flying off. So I switched to the silicone one for a little while. Even that one, I want to play with it because you can snap it and different stuff. But the metal one, hands down, mine that I got has this, for everybody listening, has this like perfect weird beveled edge that's not just rounded. But, like, when you spin it, that thing will spin for almost ever. Like, you just, like, sit there and keep going and going and going and going, and it's like well, one day, uh, like, right when we first got married, I was sitting at my desk at work and, like, spun it, and we were trying to see how long we could get it to spin, and we were using the spray air cans, and, like, you could get it
Oh, yeah.
5 minutes, like, nonstop with, like you just keep hitting it every once in a while. It was pretty
Yeah.
but yeah, it's something I just wondered from, if it was just a me thing or, uh,
No.
something else.
Nope. And, so now I have all the questions of, like, when do I take it off? When is it appropriate to take it off? And I will eventually get a silicone one as well, or as you say, a silicon.
Silicon.
Uh,
It's totally different things,
totally
not even
different thing. It's a
yeah.
place. But, yeah, so I'll eventually get one of those, but, for now, I'm just gonna use this thing. When I wash my hands, though, and it's cold outside, we live in Arizona, and it is wintertime. Cold is relative. It's like 64 degrees in my house. I feel like I wash my hands, and sometimes I just, like, go, "Whoop," and I feel like it'll slide off. It never
Yep.
has yet, but, it comes off pretty easily. It just,
Yeah.
like, goes on there and gets back off, so
Mhm. Yeah, the time that it happened to me was I was, like, 3 years after getting married, and I was washing my hands, and I'm pretty sure this was at Barrett Jackson, in Scottsdale, and I was, like, washing my hands, and then I went to dry it, and I dried it off with a paper towel, and, like, threw the paper towels in the trash bin, and
ooh.
boom, the thing came completely off, like, all the way down to the bottom of the trash can. I'm like, "I gotta dig through this thing."
So
Like
that was my question. You have that was gonna be my question. You have almost lost your ring.
yeah, like, it wasn't like I've never gotten to a point where it's like, um, I don't know what happened to it. Like, it's always been like, "Hey, I've left it," like, when I cook and stuff, there's a lot of people that leave their rings on when they're, like, preparing meat and stuff. I don't know, it just creeps me out, so I, like, always take it off, set
Yeah.
it by the sink. I've left it sit there, or I've left it sit on my dresser, or that time that it fell off, but I've never been like, "Oh, shit," like, all of a sudden look down and it's gone, from that standpoint, but I've have it flung off and had to go chase it down where I don't exactly know where it landed.
Yeah, makes sense. And it's been only literally 2 weeks now since the day we had our ceremony. So if I've had a moment where I've almost lost it, I'm doing something wrong. So I'm not there yet, but give me a year and I'm sure I'll have some instances.
Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. So, uh, the so from the standpoint of let's discuss it a little bit, right? You had a destination wedding. Obviously, a decent chunk of the family was able to attend. It was close to Christmas, so there were some people that couldn't come that close. I'm glad that we stayed
Oh
across
yeah.
Christmas because thank God there were some hiccups in planes that were just like slight delays and things like us getting home. We ended up with a 6 or 7 hour delay, but thankfully um, it was definitely better than what I thought it could have been from traveling from that standpoint. But you guys, again, destination wedding. Chose a place. Do you want to call out the place?
I mean, we'll just not.
Okay. All right. All right. We
But it
won't
was in
call out the
Punta
place.
Cana.
It was in
Uh,
Punta Cana.
it
Yes.
was an all-inclusive resort in Punta Cana. Why not? Barcelo Bavaro Palace.
Yes. Yes.
No one's gonna watch this that even cares. It was a great time.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. But if I excuse me, if I had to change some things, not from my perspective, because I was there all until after Christmas, right? I was
Hmm.
there till the 27th. So
Yep.
traveling before, getting there on the 16th and getting and leaving the 27th, I was well before and well after Christmas when everyone's trying to get back. So flights did not affect me. But listening and hearing and getting screenshots and pictures of all the travel delays, all the baggage lost, everything that went bad that happened, people that didn't get their bags when they got to Punta Cana,
Hmm.
people that didn't get their bags when they got back to Phoenix or their homeland, home state,
Hmm.
homeland.
Homeland. Okay.
I felt so terrible. And now I finally realize because I've never really traveled for Christmas. I don't think ever really, except to maybe come out to Phoenix a couple times, but never had any complications. I traveled with my parents. I was just a bystander traveling with them, not
Yeah.
really the person traveling.
Yeah.
And I think I would never have it around Christmas again.
Yeah,
I
I
felt
would s
so bad.
well, yeah, I mean, the cards fell where the cards fell, and you can't control, like,
Yeah,
because it was I mean, there was multiple things that were like, first off, it's all out of your control, right?
it
But
is. Yeah,
like, there were also two things that happened that like literally were like once in a generation. The fact of like how the whole entire United States just decided that it was going to go into a deep freeze
yeah.
with the cold coming down from the Arctic and
That
different
was a
stuff.
lot of
So
the causes right
yeah,
there.
like that was all getting there. And then coming home, depending upon when you came back, you were hitting that or you didn't fly American coming home, or you flew American coming home,
American
right?
all way, all the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, all the way. Like you were so late, like you could have potentially been in the cluster that was Southwest melting down because all of their systems came apart, right? Like again, totally out of your control. It was just like nuts, but thank God that like none of us had to deal with the bulk majority of that, right? It was just the
Yeah.
in between that was there.
Yeah, and so I kind of understand probably why destination weddings have such a low percentage of people who attend, right? You send out 150 invites, we only had 40 people show up. And
Mhm.
I know Colin's watching right now and he couldn't make it. And Colin, we missed you a ton, right? It would have been awesome to have you. But at the end of the day, with some of these complications, I bet you some of these people were like, yeah, I had a great time, but that shit sucked.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I know my parents, they came and everything else, and they haven't been on a vacation in a really long time, and they were the ones that, like, they flew in, they lost their luggage. My sister lost her luggage for 2 days, and it was just a cluster of trying to figure out where it was, when it was gonna get there, and things like that, but
And going back to people also lost their luggage, and then additionally, people were spending Christmas in the airport or in a hotel room.
yeah, and which is why when we were originally talking, my wife and your parents actually talking about going and coming and when we were trying to figure it
Mhm.
out because you were married 2 days before Christmas, so we could have flown out on Christmas
3
Eve.
days technically, yeah.
Yeah, 3 days. Yeah, we could have flown out before Christmas. Could have flown out
Yep,
before Christmas, and I'm
and
just
that's
like,
what a lot of people chose to do.
yeah, and I was like, I just like at least we're all together. I was like,
Yeah,
I don't want to try to fly and then something happen, right? It's like let's just stay. Let's just stay and then just deal with whatever it is. And um I will say I will also never travel over those ever again. I've never traveled at Christmas. For work, the first year that I moved out here in 20 it was 2003 or 2004. Um I got out here early November, had Thanksgiving, and then we flew out the day after Thanksgiving, and it was almost as much of a cluster as it was, this year for doing different stuff. So, hands down, I don't think there's a reason outside of somebody in the family that this is an circumstance where we're definitely gonna go. I don't think we would ever go over the holidays ever again. You know, not even for just going in the states.
I
Muted.
don't know why I'm muted. Don't know what happened. I It was a beautiful time. I just think there's lessons learned.
Mhm.
If you're gonna travel over the holidays, or heck, if you're gonna have a wedding over the holidays, make sure you get there well before, and
Yep.
make sure you leave well after. And
Mhm.
well after could be like 2 days after. Don't leave the next day after Christmas because that's when everyone's getting back.
Yep.
Or if you really don't care and you're not spending Christmas with anybody, leave on Christmas.
Yeah.
That's the day where no one's
Yeah,
traveling at
no,
all.
yeah, not a single
So,
person wants to,
yeah,
do anything then, so,
there
yeah,
was
I would
just
totally
lesson learned, and I think doing it again would make some changes, and especially for the people who were trying to get back for Christmas for their families. But no regrets. Had an awesome time. I think everybody else had an awesome time too. So grateful for that. Grateful for the people who came, and also grateful for the people who were not able to come because they're still supporting us in other methods. So
Yeah, yeah,
much
yeah,
shout
definitely.
out to everybody who's supporting us.
Yeah, definitely, totally agree. And I was glad of all of the different hiccups and things that were happening, minus a very small thing with between your wedding and the reception afterwards. That was small hiccup, just in the delay. The best thing is like the part of the wedding was that didn't have any major issues. Like I said, there
No,
was one small hiccup. Everybody has one or two during their wedding, but like I was praying that you guys weren't going to have any major things happen in the middle of
nope.
the wedding.
Nope, nothing major. It was literally besides time delays And besides one major minor frustration on my part, because I just wanted people to sit down at the reception,
Uh-huh.
and there were some seat confusion things
Mhm.
that should have been already handled. Like, it's a seat assignment. Just put names around the table where people are sitting and
Yep.
have a little board. It's like
Mhm.
not that complicated. But it was complicated and people didn't sit down. And I was like, I just want people to sit down. That's it. So that was my only frustration. But man, I had a hell of a time. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. The ceremony area was beautiful. The reception area surprised the hell out of me because when we saw it bare for the first time, we're not changing anything now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We saw it bare and we were like, okay, not what I was expecting for a garden area. There were no
Yeah.
flowers,
Yeah.
but they made that really beautiful and it was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, like, the only thing that, like, I was, like, uh, confused on, I was like, "Why they had such bright lights behind the food, nobody could see what you were trying to get off of the buffet area." It was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, God, wait," they had
And
lights
shining at
flames.
me too. I couldn't see a lick of any of you guys like
Yeah,
looking at me.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it was cool.
yep, yeah, but, like, I was so happy that, like, that stuff went off, and I thought it was a great wedding, and you guys, uh,
Yeah,
I
good.
I haven't seen any of the I think your mom showed me a photo or 2, but outside of what everybody else took, I
Mm.
thought it was a beautiful wedding.
Yeah, we'll have to share the photos with everybody. I think Corey's gonna share that with Heather, but I think she might as well just include everybody so she can see they can see the actual photos of that. Excuse me, that the photographer took.
Yep, yep, yep. All right. Let's talk about one other thing. Big news. Big news. I mean, it might even be bigger news than you getting married, right?
Probably.
I mean, I mean, that's saying something pretty big. But realistically, me and my wife got a new dog.
Oh, it's a little puppy.
Yes.
Like, okay,
So
wedding one day, puppy, life changing.
I
Come
know,
on.
I know. Yeah. So for those who've been following along for a while, I formerly had two labs that my wife graciously, basically adopted when she adopted me, and they
Oh,
they were
great way to
great.
put that.
They were great dogs. She loved them. I think they attached to her more than they ever did to me, and it was pretty rough for us. We lost them both in 2001. Was 2001?
Yeah.
Yes, 2001, because it was
Hmm.
October 22nd was the last one. So lost one in January, the other one in October from just old age, things that were happening. So I've been telling my wife really, really wanted to, go and like it's probably 6 months ago where Katie was like, I really want to go start looking and doing this. And I was like, no, no, we're
Yeah,
gonna
dude,
wait
it was
until
not 6 months ago. It was like a
I
year ago.
I agree with that. Yeah, it was probably January is when it started from last year, and she really wanted to go and start looking at dogs. She really wanted to rescue one. I was like, listen, I know Ryan's getting married. It's got to be probably somewhere else than here. When she first started looking, I was like, let's figure that out. You guys figured it out. It's going to be a destination wedding. I was like, I don't want to adopt a dog, especially a rescue, and then have to put it in a boarding place while we were gone that early. I was like, I just don't
Mhm.
want to do that to an animal. So was like, "We'll do it first of the year." So we get back from your wedding, and no shit, like she had already been looking the week before and found one that she wanted. And I was like, "No, why? Why are you doing that? You're only setting yourself up for like being sad because that animal may not be there."
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
exactly happened, by the way. The first one that she really really wanted. Anyway, so we get back 2 days. I don't even think it was 2 days after. She's like, "Hey, found these two animals. Want to go look at? One fell through. Then this one came up, and we're a little confused on it. His name's Ozzy. We're a little confused because it said it was a lab something else mix, which we found out is hound or whatever.
Mhm.
And we're like, okay, well, how long have you guys had them? And they're like, well, we've had them still since September, but we had to shut down because we had this weird case of ringworm pop out, and they don't have a ton of animals. Um, they only had like they keep like 6 dogs, I think is what it is on hand. They don't keep very many. They had crazy issues where it was like some new strain, so they had to bring GCU in to help out and like do cultures. Anyway,
Holy
uh,
cow.
so they're like just for safety. They're like none of the dogs like were terribly bad. Ozzy was one of the ones that got it a little bit, and he's got it, all the medication, everything took care of all of it. But that was the main reason why it was so delayed because we went and met this dog. We brought our son, who's just about 4, and they were like, "Okay, well, you guys go out first. You meet him. If you feel like it's a good set, then you can bring Byron out as well." So brought Byron out, and like outside of this dog jumping because he's just excited and he's a puppy, he's 11 months old. Outside of that, like it's a great dog, great temperament, everything else. So
Yeah.
it would just happen to be the right place, the right time that worked out, and he needs a little bit of training, but so do I.
Yeah, and it'll be perfect though, I think, because as Byron starts to do more, I think this will be perfect as like a responsibility thing. Like, hey, we got to take care of our dog, man. I know you don't have a brother or maybe a sister
Mhm.
at this moment, but now you have a dog. He is your brother.
Yep.
You know, he is your supporting person. He'll comfort you, and you'll be able to take care of him, and he'll take care of you. But you have to take care of him too. So I think it'll be good. And obviously, you guys have had dogs for forever. So, but it's just
Mhm.
nice to have a dog come back in that's they're support animals. They're there for
Yeah.
you. They're awesome. They're cute. And this one seems, I mean, I've only met the guy once in person, but seems like a hell of a dog.
Yeah, yeah, like, and I feel like we won the lottery with it because again, he's got some quirks. What I told Katie was like, all right, because she asked, they were all trying to get us to adopt him that day, and she's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, if it's me, I would tell you that we will go home, sleep on it, and if it feels right in the morning, then we can come back and get him. That's what I would do.
Nope.
Um, right? And she's like, well, no, I was like, what do you want? She's like, well, you know what I would want. I was like, I know you would adopt him now. So I was like, let me talk this through. And my train of thought was, okay, all right, what what is the negatives to this dog? Because this is what I would do overnight, right? Like
Oh
going
yeah.
through, okay, positives are easy to find. What are the negatives? So it's like, all right, he jumps, he wants to nip a little bit, just like a puppy would. Yeah, like it's not hard,
Yeah, he's
you know.
less than a year old.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
What they say.
yeah. So which we went to the vet and they did confirm that they agreed the exact same time frame for age.
Like 11, 12 months, right? Or
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
well, it'd be a
11 to
year,
12. Yeah,
11 months.
exactly. So, I'm like, okay, well, the few things that I'm seeing that are negatives in this dog, and I know I will find a few more, right? Uh, are things that I would have to do with any animal, right? I was
Yeah.
like, so whether I'm getting whether I went and bought a puppy from an actual breeder or
Yeah, an
whatever.
800,
Exactly.
$1,200 puppy.
Well, yeah, just FYI, you want to buy a puppy from anybody, they're well, a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I really, I'm actually stumbling to try to find a negative reason versus like we could potentially lose this dog because this dog is so great that somebody else will
Hmm.
come like look at him. So I was like, all right, fine, let's just take him home. And he's much smaller than our other dogs were. Our other dogs were 70 and six. We'll just say 75. One was 75, the other one was 65 pounds. They were huge labs. So they were harder to take places. We had two of them, so we did do things with them. It's just you couldn't do as much. Like you, if we would have at least had one. Like you have Camo, he is a huge dog as
He's a
well,
huge dog.
right? But
75 pounds.
it's a single dog. It's easier to be able to take one versus two,
Yeah.
and a toddler that same piece. So
Yeah, but
having.
even though if we were to do things differently, your dog is just above that threshold of being a small dog. So
Mhm.
he's not a small dog, even though I
Yep.
mean he is comparatively to
Yeah.
75 pounds.
Yeah.
He's perfect. He's so skinny, he's so small, and the fact that he's not going to be able to grow that much is just perfect.
Yeah. I think they weighed him. He was like 46 pounds, and they were like, he's not going to grow. They're like, if he grows a little bit more, we'd be surprised. He's probably full grown,
Yeah.
as is, and he wants to try to be a lap dog at certain moments in time, and like the dog is like right at the threshold of being way too big to sit on your lap, but like still could technically sit on your lap. So for everybody that's watching, like that's or
We'll
listening,
have to try that out because Camo is not a lap dog. He sits on you and you have a poop stain on you and you can't breathe. But we're
Uh,
2 for 2 and picking dogs from the pound, man.
yeah.
Camo turned out to be great, and you've had him for 2 weeks now, maybe or a week.
No, we've had him for a week. A
Yeah,
week
a week.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Seems to be another great pick from the pound. 2 for
Yep.
2. I because I
Yeah.
know some dogs, and I haven't experienced myself, but stories tell, right? And some dogs can be a real like
Mhm.
so bad you bring them back.
Yeah,
You're like,
and I can
I
tell,
can't do this.
like, it's been a long time since I've gotten a dog, and, I got my one of my old dogs I picked up off of somebody selling them off the side of the road. And then the other one was from this Hispanic family that was literally in the middle of the ghetto. That was Gabby. In the middle of the ghetto that I went, and like they had like all of these dogs they were just trying to get rid of because they had nothing to do with them. So that's my experience. So this was my first experience getting it from the pound, and man, like I could tell that they were asking more questions about us than they were really, like, about, like, wondering, like, questions we had about the dogs, which they did get into, like, "What are your questions at the end?"
That's cool.
But, yeah, they were, like so it's Foothills Animal Rescue, which is in Scottsdale, um, further out on the west side, northwest side, up here, and, like, I was so surprised, like, they were literally, like, cared to make sure that it was a good family, and they were asking us questions, kept asking about, former dogs to try to they were nicely trying to figure out, "Okay, well, what happened, right? Did you give them up? Did you, give them to somebody else? Did you leave them somebody?" This is not what they were asking, but they were just, how'd you do with them and what, when'd you get them and yada yada. It was all as a business person, I could see what they were trying to get at without being completely blunt. To the point where it's like, oh well, yeah, they passed away. They were 13 and a half of old age. They were 6 months apart. So but it actually made me feel comfortable because they're not just trying to get rid of these dogs. They were like literally trying to find
Yeah,
good homes for
which
them.
they could easily do.
Yeah.
Well, actually, probably not easily, but they could give them away without questions asked. Let's just say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and then they have to do the whole spiel, you can return them within 30 days, no questions asked and this and that. We understand it may not be a good fit, but you're gonna lose your deposit and this and that. I was like, Man, it's like, even that we have to have this conversation is weird.
Yeah,
This is
but
weird.
even going back to your comment on, like, trying to wait and think about it overnight, Corey did the same thing, and at the time, we weren't living together, so I was just like, "Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be your dog, like, not
Yeah.
mine, right?"
Uh-huh.
Corey did the same thing. She was just, like, randomly I think we are going out to, like, grab something to eat, and she was like, "You wanna stop at Halo after we go to eat?" I'm like, "Sure, I can look at some cute dogs." I have 0 intention of grabbing a
Yeah.
dog.
Uh-huh.
Just like when Katie and I went to the mall and like the mall had like a section of like
Yeah.
pets or whatever.
Mhm.
And we found this one beautiful French bulldog,
Oh,
baby
yeah.
puppy, white, and
Uh-huh.
we named him Frenchie. We already named the guy.
Yeah.
He was like so cute. We were so close to getting him, but I'm like, I don't need a dog. He's just really cute. Same thing. Go in there, look at these cute dogs. Hell yeah, these dogs are cute. Play with one. All right, thanks. I'm out of here. Corey's like, no, I can't do this. Found Camo, whose name was like Randy or something. I think it was Randy or like Rusty. It started. It wasn't Roger. I don't know. Started with an R and it was like a human name, and was like, nope, I gotta get him. He's mine. He's so cute. I love his eyes. He was a little bit more of a puppy, skinny too.
Mhm.
When we came back, when we came back from our wedding, Camo gained some lbs. Man, we're trying to work on that.
He's like, "I just ate while you guys were gone. It was too
Pretty
much."
much ate everything.
It's interesting that you talked about the name because that was the last thing I was going to bring up was did you change the name because I actually didn't know if you guys had or not for Camo. I figured you did. This
Yeah.
this guy's name literally was Ozzy uh from the rescue, and one of the things is I thought of it yesterday. Like we were trying to figure out should we change it. We kind of wanted to change it, but like neither one of us could come up with something good. So we kind of just like whatever. Like Ozzy, like, we've been calling him that like for almost a week. Let's just go with it. Fine.
Yeah.
Went to the vet 2 days ago and signed all the paper. Sign them up. You got to give them the name and stuff. So it was officially Ozzy, and we get to yesterday. I'm washing dishes in the afternoon, and I'm like, man, I was like, we shouldn't have named him Ozzy. Katie's like, well, what should we have named him? I was like, I have the perfect name, and you're gonna be pissed.
Oh
She's like,
gosh.
what? I was like, well, what do we call our son? She's like, Byron. I'm like, yeah, why do we call him Byron? She's like, well, Byron Bay, that's where scuba dived and everything else. Like, yeah. I was like, we should have changed his name instead of Ozzy. We should have called him Aussie, so that way it's
For
still kind of
Australia.
yeah, it's still kind of the same thing. And she was like, you son of a bitch. That is like perfect.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ozzy.
Yeah. Aussie.
Ozzy.
Aussie, come here, Aussie. You know?
Oh, that would have been great. Did you give him like a middle name or anything?
No.
And I'm assuming you spelled it with two Z's.
Yeah, but it's an IE because that's how it was. I was like, "I haven't spelled it
Oh,
with a Y." She's like, "No, leave it with the IE." I'm like, "Why? Just so it's
interesting.
confusing?" But
Yeah,
okay. Whatever, I didn't get a say so in it, but that was fine.
that's cool. Dogs make life happy.
Yep, yep. All right. Let's go to the final piece for this episode, and it's something that I've been struggling with pretty decently, and that is uh being it was the holidays. It was always hard. Adding on to it that we were at a destination wedding, just pretty much vacation over the holidays, right? Is I think has exacerbated it to try to get back into the swing of being back at work and being 100%, even like let's say 70% productive. I'm like struggling to like force my brain to be engaged and actually like compute what I'm doing, even like sending an email. Like it took me an hour to write an email the other day. I'm like, why is this so hard? Because I was trying to be political in the email too. So that's
Uh,
that's part of it. But is that just me, or are you having the same problem?
oh gosh, no. And so before I go into the efforts to get back into a workflow, I do want to point out it sucks coming back to work because before every meeting, everyone's joining the meeting. They're like, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm just like, how many meetings is it going to take for everybody to stop saying Happy New Year? Like, I get it. When you say hi to somebody, it's polite. How's your day? How are you? All this good stuff. But it's just like send an email out and say Happy New Year. Can we just like quit the small talk? It was
Mhm.
just frustrating. Happy New Year, Ryan. And then you go through all of it, right? How was your day? What'd you do? And then you're like, well, what'd you do? There goes the first 20 minutes of the meeting. Just like
Exactly.
nothing happens.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly. Like,
one of my
why are we even
frustrations.
having this meeting now?
Yeah, why are like because everybody else, this plays into it, I guess, because everybody else is also uh having difficulty getting back
Yep.
into the swing of things.
Mhm.
But my difficulty is definitely true. Um we're in these meetings and some of these guys are just like boom, we're getting right back into it. Let's go. The next task we left off on was this, blah blah blah. What's the next one? I literally stopped the meeting. I was like, I don't know if all of you guys have been paying attention to emails over break and like thinking about work, but I have not. I have not thought about any of you guys for about 2.5 weeks. Can we please do a recap on where we're at and what happened over the break? Not over the break because no one was working, but like where we're at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, let's
they're
just
like,
let's
oh,
just make sure we left off on this, but can we just it's like coming back from a mid-season finale, right, and watching a TV show. It's like, I
absolutely.
just need cliff notes. Let's the cliff notes, right, where I know it's off and it's currently in pre-manufacturing. Great, but, like, did we change the design? Did we not? Like, what?
That is a
Somebody.
perfect explanation or example of what I needed.
Yeah.
I don't remember shit that goes on. I go by work day by day, people. Come on.
Yeah, I tried to, like, actively not think about anything related to work while I was gone. So, that meant I didn't retain anything that we did right before we left.
Yeah. So it's just been a struggle this whole week. Next week, we actually have a kickoff meeting for a company wide event. So, like, a bunch of people are going to be there from the branch, like from the umbrella level, not
Mhm.
necessarily just the specific business unit. So that's going to be like a my welcome back and my kick in the butt to be like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's the one where
let's
it's like
go.
you gotta be on game and like, on point to make sure that somebody throws that random ass question. You're like, oh yeah, I got that.
Oh yeah, I got a
Yeah.
presentation, 30 minutes. It's small relatively, but yep, getting back into it. So this week is just kind of like a wait, is this the yeah, this is the first week back, is it? Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I
Well, that's what's crazy is like, you know, you probably didn't, but like for me, it was, hey, we got back from being gone right after Christmas. I
mhm.
jumped in. I worked like a day and a half because we had like a half day on New Year's Eve. So I worked like a day and a half. I'm like, these 2 days are like the least productive days of anybody. It's just like
Oh, yeah.
nobody ask a question, please. Like nobody, right? Then you do New Year's Day, which or the second, which you get off, which is what we're back into now. And it's just like, man, just the extra added weird day and a half in the middle like threw me off even more than what we if I would have just taken the whole entire time off.
And I was gone, right, in Punta Cana for 10 days, and then we had vacation days. I didn't even know what day it was. I didn't even know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday or even, like, the physical numerical day. I had no idea. So, I literally had to look back. I was like, "Time is flying. Time flies," right?
Mhm.
Like, blink an eye, it's gonna be December, and it's gonna be 2024 almost. That's
Yeah.
how, like, the work season goes.
The
Um
2022, by the way, not to get off topic, but to relevant to what you're saying, like flew. I have never felt a year, and like maybe it's because I was like there was certain stuff at work I was just slammed with. That like took wasn't like it was hard. It just took so much brain power every single day that like maybe that's what made it go fast. I don't know. It just feels like this previous year we just got out of went so freaking fast.
I saw this Instagram reel the other day, and it was like the pandemic was 2020, the beginning, I believe, right? Is that correct? So the beginning of
Yes, yeah, it was
2020.
March of 2020 was when
Yeah.
everything shut down. March
So
30th.
I saw this like 2019, like, yeah, and then 2020 was just like you sneeze and it's just like, and there's this group of people that was just like in masks and like separated and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden in the neck in the same reel they sneezed again, 2023, and they're just like, "Ah! What happened?" So I
Uh,
totally agree, and I feel like with age, and this is the biggest like, it's not stereotypical, but like dad comment or age comment ever. Like, "Oh, you're so young." Like I remember when I was your age. I feel like the older you get, the more time flies.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, and my dad told me that one time, he's like, literally, he's like, "Every single year will be faster than the last." And I thought that was always just because you just got busier and you're more self-aware.
Yeah.
Right? You know, because like I always go back. I literally big life event to or another life event like yesterday. I turned 39. So creeping into closer and closer to 40. I remember when I turned 18 and how literally carefree I was that I didn't give a shit what anything said on the news. I didn't care what somebody said about me. I was just living life. I was like living life and like felt like that full year was, the equivalent of 10 now. No, I think I think it becomes maybe this is just me. The more responsibilities that you get, the faster time will go. And you did 2 big responsibilities in this last year, right? Like you said,
And
you
it could
started
have
off the
been
show.
3,
Yeah.
marriage, house, and I could have done this certification too, and I should have,
Mhm.
that I'm working on that we talked about pre-show, but yeah, it could have been 3 big things, me personally, along with let alone my wife now. Ooh, I think that was the first time I said that, honestly. That was weird, but it's way better than fiance. That's just like a big old "fuck you, guy," my fiance.
My
Wife is
fiance.
just like normal. Girlfriend, normal. Wife, normal. Fiance, fuck you. Who are
Yeah,
you?
wait, it's fiance's fine when it's in, like, a year time frame. It's like, "Yeah, my fiance." It's like, "Dude, you've been saying that for 9 years. Can you, like, shit or get off the pot?" You
Shit
know?
or
It's
get off
it's
the pot.
it's taking so long, like, everybody gave me, your sister included, who, for those that don't know, I'm married to Ryan's sister. Um, they always gave me so much shit because like, I dated her for so long, and I come from a divorce in my family, and, I wanted to make sure that, like, absolutely it was the person that I wanted. I don't wanna go through a divorce. Didn't wanna have anything like that to do. So, like, I was dating for an extended period of time, to which she was even like, "You need to shit or get off the pot because I'm gonna leave." Yeah. But, like, to that point, like, then we were only, like, engaged for, like, 6 months between yeah, because it was, I, Christmas of 2013, and we got married in 2014 in May, so 6 months. So,
That's a short one. We were like a year and a half. No, yeah, July, year and a half. Yep. Pretty
yep,
much on the dot.
yeah,
June,
but
excuse me.
it doesn't seem like it was a year and a half. That's what's crazy.
Oh
You
my
go back to
god,
the how
no.
fast the time went.
But I'm so like I'm not over it, and unfortunately Corey has more efforts to do on than me on like name change, credit
Yep,
card, banks, all this stuff, like
yeah,
anything to do with a last name, right? Because she's taking
mhm.
my name. But like, you plan a wedding, and Corey did a ton, right? Super grateful for her, but and I helped, but the planning's over, right? And after you get married, you're like, hey, we're done. Yes, we are done. And then you're just like, no, no, you're not done. You
Mhm.
have to turn in your certificate. You have to change your name. You have to update this document. You have to update your, payment information from your company, uh, or your benefits, or all this stuff. It
Yeah,
is not done.
beneficiaries and
And
well,
nobody tells you this information. This is
yeah,
just like, you find out.
yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, you missed one, and I know you haven't even dealt with it yet because you don't have any of the stuff, but you're about to go through the taxes too, which is a big pain in the ass on combining that stuff together. The first year is always the worst. After that, it's not that
Yeah.
bad. But
So,
like,
brand new year. This is what we're going through right now. And
mhm.
it's, again, more for Corey, unfortunately, but I'm still with her, right? So I'm in it too.
Yep, yep. It's crazy, but all right. Well, we appreciate everybody joining us this week, listening in, watching with your peepers, or your ear holes. And like I said at the beginning of the show, please like, follow, subscribe. If you're listening to us on Apple, please give us a review. Regardless, anywhere that you're listening to, but definitely if you're listening to us on Apple, for the podcasting app, please give us a review. It definitely helps us out greatly. And we will see everybody for the next
Happy,
show.
yeah, happy New Year. Start off the year strong. Do what you need to do, and we'll see you more frequently.
Keep your powder dry.